This episode of The Startup Life is sponsored by SaveTheChildren.org. Startup Nation, Save the Children believes every child deserves a future. In the United States and around the world, they work every day to give children a healthy start in life, the opportunity to learn, and protection from harm. They deliver lasting results for millions of children, including those hardest to reach. They do whatever it takes for children every day, and in times of crisis, transforming their lives and the future we share. Startup Nation, right now, the coronavirus is the biggest global health crisis in our lifetime. It threatens children in every way. COVID-19 has already left many children without caregivers, out of school, and exposed to violence and exploitation. Child poverty is rising. With your support, we can help children in unsafe households and help support distance learning in the face of school closures. Here are some ways your support can make a difference. For just $5, you can buy a baby's first book, providing comfort and inspiring lifelong learning. And for $25, you can serve a nutritious breakfast and lunch to 5 out-of-school children in need. And there's many other ways you can help support Startup Nation. So go to SaveTheChildren.org/SaveKids or www.SaveTheChildren.org/SaveKids. So if you're ready to make a difference, Startup Nation, remember SaveTheChildren.org. Make the change for children. This episode of The Startup Life is tucked in nice and tight by Philip Stein and the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet. Startup Nation, getting quality sleep is super important, especially for those of us as entrepreneurs. I know for me, if I don't get enough quality sleep, not only do I not perform well while working in my business or exercising, but also it really affects my mental health and that doubt starts to creep in. And that's the last thing we want as entrepreneurs. Also, with everything going on, good quality sleep is important to repair the body and support a good immune system. And that is why, Startup Nation, I wear the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet. The Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet uses natural frequency technology to reinforce our biomagnetic field to improve deep sleep, length of sleep, and overall sleep quality. This helps produce a healthier heart, regulate weight control, and helps strengthen the immune system, which helps destroy bacteria and viruses. Right now, when you go to philipstein.com, use code SLEEPEZ and you will get 10% off the entire store. That's promo code SLEEP, capital E, capital Z. So if you are ready to be more productive in leading your business, go with the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet, proven to be natural and safe to give you a better, deeper sleep. What up, Startup Nation? This is Dominic Lawson, the host of The Startup Life, here with another review. Now, normally when we do reviews, we review books, but this time, Startup Nation, we're going to review a product this time. Yes, a product, Startup Nation. And this is thanks to our really good friends over at Philip Stein, the masters of natural frequency technology. And you may be wondering, what in the world is natural frequency technology? So basically, Startup Nation, the Earth's natural frequencies can have positive effects on our well-being. Philip Stein's proprietary wellness technology resonates with those beneficial frequencies to help people sleep well, reduce stress, and enjoy more energy in their day-to-day lives. And Startup Nation, that is actually what we're going to review today, the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet. But before we get into what the Philip Stein Bracelet is and stuff like that, I actually have been using it for the past 30 days. So I have a lot of data points to kind of share my experience with the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet and everything in between and some of those effects. But a little background about Philip Stein, the company itself. So the story of Philip Stein begins with the owners, Will and Rena Stein. Will is a marketing expert with a background in business, while his wife, Rena, is a watch designer with 28 years of experience in the watch business. Together, they've combined their diverse skill sets with a newly acquired knowledge of natural frequencies and their power to improve one's overall health and well-being, developing a watch collection that promotes wellness while delivering unrivaled style. And that's one thing about Philip Stein, Startup Nation. Not only is it providing this health benefit, but these are some beautiful pieces, some very beautiful pieces, Startup Nation, for sure. The launch of Philip Stein's watches marked the first time in history that frequency-based technology had been incorporated into a luxury watch brand. Within a short period of time, the company received endless testimonials, better sleep, less tension, and improved concentration. But perhaps the most important endorsement came in 2010 when media giant Oprah Winfrey featured Philip Stein watches on her Oprah's Favorite Things show. Now look, Startup Nation, Let's be honest, okay? We talked about this in a previous review, that anytime Oprah puts her hands on something, that's a pretty big endorsement. So Philip Stein definitely has that endorsement as well. Will and Rena Stein have accomplished what they set out to create, an iconic watch that boosts wearers' health and wellness. Philip Stein products are sold in more than 20 countries around the world. The product line has expanded to include a wide range of styles as the Philip Stein company continues to research into its life-changing technology. Will and Rena remain eager and committed to developing products that will enhance people's quality of life. And so that is the background on the Philip Stein company. Once again, Startup Nation, we're reviewing the Philip Stein sleep bracelet. And we're going to give you a little bit of background about the sleep bracelet before we get into our actual review and our experience with it. So with the Philip Stein sleep bracelet, you fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, and wake up refreshed with Philip Stein sleep bracelets. Recent studies have shown that wearing the Philip Stein sleep bracelet regularly can improve deep sleep, improve length of sleep, improve mood and productivity, improve overall sleep quality. And so Startup Nation, they have the findings of the clinical study there on their website, and we have it here in the show notes here for easy access if you want to check that out as well. Benefits of a good sleep: more focus, mood boost, right? You wake up with a better mood, healthier heart, more energy, weight control, and improved health. Now, one thing we always talk about, Startup Nation, is that when you get enough sleep, it improves your health. More accurately, it helps supports a healthy immune system. And we all know, with everything going on with coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, that is super important. So the Philip Stein sleep bracelet could definitely be of advantage of not only just keeping you healthy, but on your path to entrepreneurship as well. And another thing, not only does it once again have these amazing health benefits, but these are some beautiful pieces. When I got mine in the mail and I broke out the box and stuff like that, it's like, oh man, that is gorgeous. Like, can I wear this while I'm up? But they say that it's primarily for sleep purposes for sure. So let's get into the review since we're here now. So it uses once again, beautiful pieces. It uses a camel microfiber strap on the bracelet, which feels great on the skin. Don't get me wrong, like, you'll sleep, so about 80%, 90% of the time while you're having on, you won't really notice it that it's on. But while you do have it on, it is important to have that it feels great on your skin, on your wrist as well. And it has like a stainless steel finish to it as well, Startup Nation, which is really cool also. Like all Philip Stein sleep bracelets, this health and wellness boosting staple boosts an ultra soft microfiber strap and classic stainless steel casing. Inside the case, our clinically proven natural frequency technology works to help improve your sleep and overall wellness. So enjoy a more refreshed awakening. It also comes with 2 additional interchangeable straps for your total comfort, which is kind of cool because they have different colors, right? You have like this camel colored one, you have like a navy and a brown and a gray and a dark brown. And so that's all really cool for sure. So let's get into this review a little bit. So I have been wearing the Philip Stein sleep bracelet for the past 30 days. And I have to give my endorsement, and I really have to say that because I have found myself being more productive, waking up in a better mood. But one thing I wanted to do was to really put it to the test. So I kept a log for every day for the past 30 days, and just kind of really wanted to push it to the limit a little bit, right? I didn't just want to just put the bracelet on and just see what happens, right? I actually wanted to kind of push it to the limit. So a few of the things that I did, that I would, try to stay up really late and get up super early to kind of see if I still got that deep sleep, even if it was just for a short period of time. I tried to maybe, stay up for 24 hours, if you will, right? And do the same thing. You see if I can get like a nice refreshed, 8 to 10 hours of sleep after taking, doing it for 24 hours. I do not recommend that, Startup Nation. This is for science purposes, if you will, for sure. So long story short, I found myself, and I'm not going to go through every day, Startup Nation. I don't want to bore you with all of that, but I do want to highlight a few things that I noticed as well. Like there was one day where I wrote slight less productive and got sleepy late in the day. First day of driving ride share, because I do ride share when I'm not doing this, Startup Nation. Using the bracelet, took a mid-morning nap and it was very good sleep. Even included a memorable dream of me levitating through a sports arena, which is weird, by the way. Normally when I take naps, I lay down for 2 hours and get about 30 minutes of actual sleep. I actually slept for 2 hours. So right then and there, like I said, I take mid-morning naps and stuff like that. But that was one of the days where I was like, okay, this thing really does work, because it's not only the fact that I got really good sleep, but I had very vivid dreams, if you will. Like I can remember what was happening in that dream. And I normally don't dream when I nap during the day. Like if I do dream, it's like, typical when you go to bed for the evening, overnight and stuff like that. But while that's one of the things I did notice, I had more vivid dreams, and that can spark creativity in your business, Startup Nation. You can see something in a dream like, I never thought about that. So the Philip Stein sleep bracelet could be a arsenal in your toolkit, in your entrepreneurial toolkit, as we like to say all the time, to help with that creativity, to help with that innovation if you're having more vivid dreams with a deeper sleep. And that quality of sleep was really good as well, because one thing I did notice is that I may or may not have a little bit of drool coming out my mouth, out of my face a little bit when I woke up. But that definitely speaks to the quality of the sleep bracelet, if you will. Let's see. Let's read another one, if you will. Let's see. Very good day driving ride share. In the past, during a ride, I usually have one ride that is rough due to fatigue. Did not have that today. Was up playing loud music and energetic. I remember that day. I was on one that day for sure. On some good sleep, by the way. Was up playing loud music and energetic. Was a bit tired to take a nap when I got home at 10 o'clock, but did not. Had a little bit of, time with the wife and stuff like that with no issue as well. Show prep for an episode recording. Wanted to test it. This was important too. Wanted to test the cognitive skills, so I focused more on listening than prep work. Had one of my best interviews in a long time. Was a bit tough reading as comprehension fatigue began to set in. So basically, Startup Nation, while using the sleep bracelet. Oh, and that day I went to bed at 11:30 that night and woke up at 3:40 a.m. the next day. And like I said, that was a ride share day. So once again, thanks to the sleep bracelets, natural frequency technology, I was able to get a deep sleep, and not only did I do my ride share stuff that day, but I had an interview that day, and it really was a great interview. Like I wanted to kind of push myself, right? So I didn't do a whole bunch of show prep for that interview. I just wanted to see if I could use those cognitive skills and those listening skills to kind of just be aware of what my what my guest was talking about, and just kind of play off that. And I did a really good job. One of the best interviews I've had in a really long time. And so that was another benefit of the sleep bracelet as well. There was a few times, however, I will say this, because I don't want to just say everything was cool. But there was a few times where I wasn't able to fall fast asleep like I wanted to while wearing the bracelet. But that was not, that was far and in between, right? Far and in between. So that was just one of the few times that actually happened. Let's see. Let's get another one here. Trying to, let's see. Went to bed at 10 o'clock the night before, woke up at 2:21, trying an early bedtime to maximize effectiveness, woke up to be a productive day, took a 40-minute nap where I did not fall asleep, but I did feel rested with the bracelet more than normal. So, and that's another thing, Startup Nation. A lot of times I'll just like take a rest or whatever. Like I know I'm not going to fall asleep because I got stuff to do, but I just want to get like a rest, right? And the bracelet was able to help me do that as well. Probably wanted to help me a little bit more, but it got the job done. Right. And so, once again, that natural frequency technology really kicks in and really aids you on, has aided me on my path of entrepreneurship for sure. Let's see, I'll read one more and then we'll kind of wrap it up for today. Let's see. Went to bed at 11 p.m., woke up at 3:40 a.m. Got up to start ride sharing, but since I had no riders for 2 hours and tons of work to do on the show, I decided to come back home and get some rest. Slept for 3 hours to some very good sleep. This is all while wearing the bracelet, of course, right? I know this because my wife said I was snoring and woke up with drool. 2 signs that I was in a deep sleep. Pretty productive day with reading for an upcoming interview and handling some business stuff for the show. Started getting tired around 8:30 and decided to go to bed around 10 p.m. So once again, Startup Nation, like I said, I really took this thing through the ringer. I wanted to kind of maximize some stuff. There were some days where, I exercised a little heavily than normal. And then tried to go straight to sleep because, when you exercise, right, you're all amped up and stuff like that. And then and so it takes you a little bit longer to kind of your body to calm down and go to sleep as well. And it did take a little bit longer than normal, but that natural frequency, that NFT technology really did kind of start to settle in a little bit as my body started to calm down and stuff like that. And really kind of helped me put me in a great deep sleep for sure. And so my final take is that, the Philip Stein sleep bracelet is a must buy. When you're talking about, getting a good night's rest and powering your path to entrepreneurship, anything that you can use from a natural standpoint without using anything else like, pills or something like that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but a lot of people are not fans of taking pills. So if you're one of those people that are not fans of taking pills or something like that to help you fall asleep, the Philip Stein sleep bracelet is definitely something you want to invest in. And lucky for you, we have a promo code, Startup Nation. If you go to philipstein.com and put in promo code SLEEPEZ, that's SLEEP, capital E, capital Z, and put that promo code in, you get 10% off your Philip Stein sleep bracelet. Or if you want to get one of those beautiful watch pieces that they have, that promo code would apply there as well. So once again, the Philip Stein sleep bracelet is a must buy if you want to power your path to entrepreneurship and get that deep sleep that you're looking for. Once again, some of the benefits: more focus, mood boost, healthier heart, more energy, help manage that weight control, and also help that improved health. Because once again, when you go to sleep, Startup Nation, that's the time where the body is repairing itself, and it helps strengthen that immune system. And once again, when we're dealing with COVID-19 or the coronavirus, that's something that is super important. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we're going to get to today's guest. Payoff.com sponsors this episode of The Startup Life. Startup Nation, you've tried balance transfers and budgeting, but high interest rates and unrelenting bill cycles make it almost impossible to get out of credit card debt on your own. Instead of another new savings technique, you need a clear path out of debt. And that's what a payoff loan can do. A payoff loan is a personal loan backed by member-centric credit unions designed to help you pay off your credit cards. With rates as low as 5.99% APR and loan amounts up to $35,000 with no hidden fees, and personal customer service support from Payoff to help you reach your financial goals. Some of the benefits of a payoff loan may also include a personal credit score boost, 1 monthly payment, and savings from lower interest rates. Go to payoff.com/the startup life to learn more. Checking loan rates won't affect your credit score. And if you listen to the replay on the podcast, the link is there in the show notes. Try something new. Pay off your credit card debt with Payoff. NMLS ID number 1396805. Now, all applicants may qualify. Loans only available within the United States. Loan is not available in all states. Payoff works with lending partners who originate the loans. Additional terms, conditions, and eligibility requirements may apply. More information is available at payoff.com/the startup life.
It's time to be about that life, the startup life. Here's your host, Dominic Lawson.
All right, Startup Nation, so I hope you're ready to receive some value today. My name is Dominic Lawson, and this is The Startup Life, the show for entrepreneurs and career-minded professionals. You know, Startup Nation, with everything going on, COVID-19, coronavirus, there's a lot of changes. There's definitely a lot of changes. But our guest today is all about using a common sense, shoot you straight approach when it comes to change and stuff like that. And we're going to introduce him now. He is the president of On the Same Page Consulting, Inc., a leadership strategy and career planning firm. He's also the Amazon best-selling author of The White Shirt. When we had him on the show last time, we talked about that book in great detail. And he's back again to share with us his latest book. He's author of Roll Up Your Sleeves, Leading and Living in a World of Constant Change. And seeing as that he's a return guest on The Startup Life, that makes him a two-time startup alum. So I want to welcome my friend, and future hunting partner. We're going to talk about that a little bit later.
That's right.
Michael Alan Tate. What's going on, Magnificent MAT?
Oh, Dominic, so good to hear your voice again and be back. It's just an honor to be on your show, and your show's just done amazing things out there, and you helped me so much with my last book. That was one of the reasons it hit the bestseller, was because of the promotion you did with the podcast. So you're one of the first ones who took me on and gave me a chance. I appreciate it so much, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate those kind words. I assure you the check is in the mail, Mike, for sure. So, let's kind of do a refresher a little bit. Just kind of share with me and Startup Nation, what's been going on since the last time we talked. We talked about The White Shirt, in great deal and stuff like that.
Right.
So you hit the Amazon bestseller list, but just kind of share with us a little bit about what's been going on since we last spoke.
Yeah, well, we've been working on the book. It's doing some social media stuff with The White Shirt, and it's gone up several times to the bestseller list, and that's been really exciting. And my work's been doing extremely well. I've had, I have 4 or 5 really great clients who keep me on retainer and keep me coming in, and just good stuff. My family's safe. Everybody's making it through all this real well. Even my 89-year-old mother, she's just having actually better health than she's had in years. So all that's good. And
awesome.
Yeah, and been doing some fishing and hunting a little bit, and things like that. So it's been good. Good.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that. I'm glad to hear that you and your mom and everybody's all in good health, especially everything that's going on. I really am glad to hear that for sure. So let me ask you this, because, we're here. We're going to talk about your book, Roll Up Your Sleeves, Leading and Living in a World of Constant Change. And Startup Nation, that book is out today. We actually, and Mike's going to explain a little bit more, but you were saying that when we were talking off air that the book was actually slated to come out in the fall, right? But the book publisher decided to move it up, right? Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, 6 weeks ago when all this hit, my book, Roll Up Your Sleeves, was coming November 18th was the date.
Right.
And the publisher called and said, we got to get this out now. The timing's just so perfect for helping people understand when this change hits, how you deal with all the transition that comes with it. So, it was, so that's how it happened. And it's going to be the May 26th is the release date. So, and this will come out about that same time. So it's going out today, and we got some real, great promotions around it and all that stuff. So
awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's been,
awesome stuff. Thank you for sharing that. And Startup Nation, once again, if you want to purchase that book, we have a link there in the show notes for easy access. If you're listening to the replay on the podcast. So, just kind of walk me through, the general gist of the book, just a little bit, just kind of give us a taste a little bit, because I was reading the first part, and you led with a great story about you were brought in to kind of do some coaching, and somebody had passed away in the organization. Kind of share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah. And it sure happened that way. My White Shirt book was about finding your career, and this book's about what happens when your career changes.
Right.
And so the story was, I was headed down to a client of mine, and I got a call from the CEO, and she said, we've had a death here. One of our manager's child was killed this weekend. And, and all the guys in operations don't know what to do. These are guys that work out they build utility poles and lines and things like that.
Right.
They don't he's coming back in Monday, and they don't know really what to say or do. So she calls me, and I'm going, what?
Right.
So I'm going, okay, well, I can help you. I got off the phone, and so I just called a few friends of mine who are in consulting, asked them what they would do, and they gave me some good advice on that. So basically, I went in with these guys. There's 20 or 30 guys in the room, and I said, let me tell you guys, I am not a I'm not a pastor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm here to just kind of talk to you about what happened. And y'all concerned when he comes back. They said, "Yeah, we just don't know what to say. What do you say when something like this happens?" So I basically turned the question back to them and said, "Guys, when you've had a loss like this in your life, what were some things that people said that were helpful for you, and what were some of the things they said that weren't helpful?" And we made a list of those things. That people ask questions and and so we made a list of those things, and they kind of had their own answers of the things that they would do. Because, we've all had people walk up to you, after you've had a loss and say, well, what happened? How was it involved? What were the details around it?
Right.
And that's not very helpful. And so we came up with just giving them a chance to sit and listen and ask how they're feeling, and tell them that they're supporting them and those kind of things. Just some common sense stuff that we innately know, but when a change hits, we go into that wave of emotions. We do shock, and
right.
Kind of don't know what to do or say. So I just walked them through and let them know that really, guys, you know what to do. I'm just here to remind you about all the things that happen when change hits and how you deal with that. And that's what the book's all about, is common sense. It's not a clinical book. It's a guidance I've gathered over the years when I've been out working with clients and years ago, I worked with organizations that downsized.
Right.
And so I would walk in and have to deal with a whole plant of people that had just been told your plant's closing, and help them walk through that. And that's kind of where I learned some of this, that there is a difference between change and transition. That's the point in the book. That is, the change is an event that occurred. Transitions are the three phases of emotions we all go through when change hits, which is first resistance, second exploration, and third commitment. And so we all go through those stages of anger and blame when we're resisting, and depression and getting sick. It always happens in the first day. Then we go to exploring ideas and looking for new things, and then finally, you can always tell when someone's close to commitment and moving back through, because they start being thankful for things. It's kind of the sign. So, and the problem is, so many people, when a change hits, they just say, I'm okay, and they're already over to commitment. We call that the Tarzan Swing. It's like, I'm a tough guy. I can get through this. But you know what? We always have to go through that wave at some point in our life, our time. So that's what this book is about, is just raise your awareness of that and give you some practical tools to help yourself and other people move through it.
I hear that. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
A quick follow-up, Mike, if I can, because you were talking about how when you first was talking to the people about what was going on in the organization at that time, and you led like, look, I'm not a pastor or a grief counselor or anything like that. This is just what I do. In times of crisis, and I know a lot of leaders are kind of experiencing this right now. A lot is like asked of them that is kind of outside of what they normally do. Like if I'm the store manager of a grocery store right now, right? Like, I'm all about like getting product in, logistics and stuff like that. But sometimes those cashiers and those employees are looking to you for something more. When you're asked to do more like that, what is your what's the approach there? Because we don't have all the answers as leaders. So what's the approach in your opinion?
The approach is to ask some questions that help people explain how they're feeling about it, and just listen to them and guide them forward through those. So for example, I'm working right now with companies that are trying to move their people back in.
Right.
That's what I'm doing, and I'm helping them to come through those. And so, so I always say, when the people come in, you get them together and you just ask them, or at one-on-one, how do you feel about what happened and what we did here? How do you think that was handled? the way we, kind of, we had to push some of you guys away and bring you back, and could we handle it better? Some of those kind of questions, and then ask them. What I usually start with is, during all this change and that you've been through, and your life being turned upside down, what is something that you, or something you've learned through this, and what was positive and what was hard? Because what people need to do is just express that. I mean, when this thing happened about a month in, I called all the CEOs I'm working with, and I asked them those two questions. And I said, what is it about this that's been positive, and what been hard? And I mean, I'm on the phone for an hour, and they're all telling me about it. Right. And nobody asked me that. So what we need to do is just give people a chance to speak it, and then they start moving forward. But if you just, kind of push away from it, and I know that's emotional stuff. It's kind of touchy-feely sort of things, but right. Everybody needs to share how they feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That vulnerability piece is super important when you're talking about like moving forward, especially in a crisis, situation as well. Yeah. When I was, go ahead. I'm sorry.
In the book and on my website, I have I drew I have a thing I call a wave of change, and I have people bring that out, and it shows the three phases and the emotions people go through. And a lot of companies are using that with their employees, just to lay it down there and put it up and say, where are you right now? Do you feel like you're resisting or exploring? It's kind of a tool to help people. Right. When they can visually see that this is normal. There's nothing wrong with this. It's normal for everyone to go through these things. So
absolutely. And I'm looking at that illustration right now, Startup Nation, where it has the resisting, exploring, and committing. And it has like these waves, if you will, on top of that, where you talk about change. That shock denial piece is really, getting over that hurdle was really big. I know that firsthand. I know that from working with clients, myself, and other people. So I know that's pretty important. But we always trying to get to that promised land that you have there at the end, for sure. Right. But I think but you bring up an important point, that it's important to go through all of that, right? Because if you skip anything, I imagine that like you may find yourself doing more damage, than would have been happening at first, without the crisis. You know what I mean? So I think that's super important. I appreciate you sharing that here on the show and in the book, Mike, for sure.
Sure. And, everybody has a different personality too.
Absolutely.
So we don't all move through those things in a steady way.
Of course not.
Some people will just kind of move forward and back and forth, but the point is that we all go through it. And to understand that that's a piece of it, and that no one just kind of marches on when change it. I mean, I know myself, think about a personal change. I mean, I went through a divorce. Mm-hmm. If you ever been through a loss like that,
right?
And I wasn't very good at it. They say you teach what you most need to learn, and I think that's what I'm doing here. Right. Because I mean, I hold stuff in. I just went forward like nothing was wrong. About 6 months later, man, I crashed big time, right? Because I didn't really take time to find a friend to talk this thing out with and do the things that, we weren't taught when we were boys. Aren't supposed to do that. We're supposed to be tough, get through this.
Right. Going back to that Tarzan metaphor you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, Startup Nation. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We got to pay some bills. Once again, my name is Dominic Lawson, and you're listening to The Startup Life. This episode of The Startup Life is tucked in nice and tight by Philip Stein and the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet. Startup Nation, getting quality sleep is super important, especially for those of us as entrepreneurs. I know for me, if I don't get enough quality sleep, not only do I not perform well while working in my business or exercising, but also it really affects my mental health, and that doubt starts to creep in. And that's the last thing we want as entrepreneurs. Also, with everything going on, good quality sleep is important to repair the body and support a good immune system. And that is why, Startup Nation, I wear the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet. The Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet uses natural frequency technology to reinforce our biomagnetic field to improve deep sleep, length of sleep, and overall sleep quality. This helps produce a healthier heart, regulate weight control, and help strengthen the immune system, which helps destroy bacteria and viruses. Right now, when you go to philipstein.com, use code SLEEPEZ and you will get 10% off the entire store. That's promo code SLEEP, capital E, capital Z. So if you are ready to be more productive in leading your business, go with the Philip Stein Sleep Bracelet, proven to be natural and safe to give you a better, deeper sleep. Support for the Startup Life is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Startup Nation, personal grooming is super important, not only from a hygiene standpoint, but also from a confidence one as well. And that is why you need to have a tight haircut and, well, a nice groomed undercarriage as well. And when doing that, you don't want to use the same razor, do you? That's just absurd. And this is why our friends at Manscaped have given you another option. Introducing the all-new Lawnmower 3.0 by Manscaped. This lightweight and waterproof razor features precision engineered blades for safe trimming in sensitive areas, and a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. Ladies, Father's Day is just around the corner, and this will make a perfect gift for that guy on the go. Use code The Startup Life in all caps for 20% off and free shipping on your brand new Lawnmower 3.0 at manscaped.com. We have a link there in the show notes for easy access if you're listening to the replay on the podcast. And while you're there, be sure to check out all the other products from manscaped.com as well. So for proper manscaping without the fear of hurting anything, go with Manscaped. Trust me, your family of jewels will thank you. All right, Startup Nation, welcome back as we continue our conversation with today's guest here on The Startup Life.
So, once again, we're talking to Michael Alan Tate, the author of Rolling Up Your Sleeves. And once again, you can get that book today, Startup Nation. That book is actually out today. You get the link in the show notes for easy access. Kind of talk about, remind us about, the kind of those four big characters that, we bring over from the white shirt up into Rolling Your Sleeves, and their different approaches to everything.
There's four guys: Cyrus, Gage, Baram, and they traveled together. They all have different personalities. As a matter of fact, on my website now for the book, you can take a quiz to find out who you're like. Right. If you're like each of those characters, it helps you understand how you approach things. But they basically took a journey to visit with Darius, who was their mentor, who died, and they experienced the family going through the grief process, and it was so eye-opening to them. They realized they needed to come back and teach that to the people in the kingdom, so they would understand how to move through that. And they develop at the end of the book are the 10 observations they learned on their trip.
Right.
Some of those was first, change is not the same as transition, to realize that transition are the motions you go through. And the other one is that personality matters, that we all have our own way of moving through these transitions. And to acknowledge that is the best thing to do, not trying to change people or push people, just know everybody will go through it. Their personality matters. And another part was process matters as well, that showing the people these waves and how you move through those help people realize where they are so they can move through. And one of the big points that they realized is self-counseling doesn't work. That's a huge point during this time, that when change hits, we become our worst counselors. Right. So instead of like I did, instead of trying to talk to myself, find someone you can share this with, and you'll get through it much faster together. And so those were some of the things that were in there. And one of the other keys that they learned that I found myself is helping another person get through their struggle or transition is the best way to get through yours.
Right.
And you know that as you've ever been through anything before, when I talk to people, I'm having a tough time,
Absolutely.
Everything's going wrong. And I'll say, so who do you know that, tell me about some of your friends and what they're going through. And they'll say, well, you ever thought about trying to help them? Because when you do that, you all of a sudden get healed yourself, by helping you heal other people. So that's, but the whole book, though, really, when you look at what it's boiled down into one sentence, like my white shirt book was, my white shirt sentence was, ask for a job and you'll get advice, ask for advice and you'll find a career.
Right.
For Roll Up Your Sleeves, about change, the line is, everyone has unseen battles they are fighting. Be kind, but speak truth.
Right.
so that's kind of the core premise of the whole book is, it's about grace and grit. It's about, listening and being kind, because, we don't know what people are going through. And when you ask those questions I mentioned before to your people or to yourself, what was positive about this? What was hard? You'll hear something, you'll hear something about their life or something at work that you never knew they were going through. So that's when it boils down to that nutshell, that would be it, is everyone has unseen battles they are fighting.
Absolutely.
Be kind. Be kind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's super important, Startup Nation, especially, as we dive into, this, earthly pandemic and stuff like that. A lot of people are fighting stuff, whether it be, underlying health conditions or just the fact that, like, some people have lost their jobs, right? And so,
Right.
It's hard to see that just by looking at them, right? So, that part about being kind is just super important as well. So, Mike, I want to ask you this because, we were talking earlier off air about how, I know Alabama has opened up its economy. Tennessee has opened up its economy as well. But there are certain states that, they're still kind of like shutting down things and stuff like that. I guess,
Right.
So clearly as leaders, different people have different approaches. We kind of said that earlier. But,
Right.
what are some of those things to remember when in a crisis mode, as that affects your decision making? Because I imagine that's super important.
Oh, it is. And what you have to remember when everything's changing around you, what is the purpose of your business? What's the purpose of the business? What's the why behind? If you're making a change yourself, what's that why that's behind the change? It's kind of like, what's your promised land? If we talk in the book about, because if you know the vision or purpose, people can get through this better if there's something bigger that you serve. And also remind people, when I talk with CEOs, I'm saying, when these guys come back in, don't worry about production. Just worry about help them understand your purpose and your principles. Remember, guys, we're in the middle of this. Our vision is to be this in the world, and we stand for these things like integrity,
right,
and honesty and truth. And if you can get people anchored in those constant things that don't change, it helps them get through the changes that come. And that's for a family as well, or any,
right.
I know my wife and our kids are gone now, but we have a purpose statement. We have value statements for our family. And when things get crazy, you come back to the one thing that doesn't change, that. And, of course, for me, it's my faith in God that never changes.
Absolutely.
But for an organization, is to get back, remind people why we're here, what we're doing, what we believe, how we treat each other. And a production will start taking care of itself. But if you just go for pushing people to get back to production, you just got to give them some time to get through it. And it really doesn't take a lot except asking some questions that show you care and listening to folks, and they'll work their hearts out for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely does yield a little bit of loyalty to you as a leader as well. I want to ask you this because, you were talking about how, not just pushing them to production and things of that nature. When you're a leader, right, or not necessarily a leader, but let's say you're, like an essential worker, right? Because I know you mostly work with, CEOs and stuff like that. But let's say you're an essential worker, right? What are some of those things I should remember? Not necessarily because I'm not necessarily in a leadership role per se, but you can exemplify leadership in a crisis, and people can look to you. What are some of the things you would kind of share with an essential worker who is trying to maybe not necessarily establish leadership, but when people are looking to them as a leader as well?
Yeah. And leadership has nothing to do with the position in a company.
Of course.
You know that. I mean, I worked with a little firm one time, and I think the leader in that firm was the taxi driver that came in every day and delivered their packages. He had more influence on the place than anybody did.
Right.
And but now, so if you're a manager and you're out there and you're working with teams, one thing that's super important as far as getting production is role clarity. Right. Getting clear. We are all structure-seeking beings, and so when change hits, stop in about every week or so and say, guys, let's talk about your role. Let's talk about how your role is changing.
Right.
Role clarity is extremely important during change. And, and again, going back to the why we're working here, and that's what's keeping all these healthcare workers and people out there. They're knowing what they're doing is making a huge difference in their life.
Right.
But the role clarity is extremely important when change hits, and that's the one thing. If you can focus on that, and then have I recommend a 40-day plan. People say have a plan. I'm going, well, when you have a plan, you need something short term. So 40 days. So if you're coming back in, get your people together and say, tell me about how this has been positive for you or what's been good. Now let's talk about going forward. What are some things we need to do, and put together a 40-day plan. That's all we can do right now. And that gives people a context to work in, gives them structure, gives them steps, and you can take it a week at a time, but it gives them a little bit of vision out there when everything, it's hard to, as my buddy from the Marines always says to me, it's hard to plan long-term when the bullets are flying around your head. Mm-hmm. So role clarity, put together a 40-day plan to get people rolling. I mean, I know you have the long-term visions, but if you're on the front lines and you're doing that, getting clear on roles, reminding the principles that we live by and the purpose that we're here, is the key to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And that's why I wanted to ask that, Startup Nation, because I know many of you are not necessarily in traditional or appointed leadership roles, but I wanted to kind of share, and I knew Mike was the perfect person to answer that. I wanted to share that, you don't have to have that role. You don't have to have that, this official title to be a leader. No. And so, Mike, eloquently kind of shared, what that looks like and what kind of move forward. And that 40-day plan is just genius, by the way. Because it has those benchmarks in there and stuff like that. So I appreciate you sharing that, Mike.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Thanks for asking. Yeah.
No worries. And if that's something that you're looking for, that kind of coaching, if you will, go to michaelalantate.com. We have a link there in the show notes for easy access where you can get coached by Mike, on many of his concepts that's used in the white shirt, that's used in Roll Up Your Sleeves, which is out today, Startup Nation, and many other concepts that he's learned over his 25 plus years of doing what he does, Mike. So I appreciate you once again for coming on the show, my man.
Well, thanks so much, and remind the guests that if they you gave my contact information, I appreciate that.
Sure.
Also, there's if you go on the my website, you'll see Roll Up Your Sleeves and click on there, and there is a 2-minute quiz that helps you understand how your personality moves through change. Right. So I'd encourage you to go do that and see what you think about it, and it's a fun little exercise to do, and it helps start those conversations about moving forward.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and look in the show notes right now, Startup Nation. We're going to go ahead and add that link in the show notes for easy access to get directly to that quiz. Mike, I want to ask you this because one of the things I've always loved about you, I loved about you now, and I loved about you when we had you on the show a while back, is this you take very complex information and ideas and you simplify them to a way to where everybody can understand them. Like, let's be honest, there are people out there who are extremely smart, right? But they use words and language and jargon that not everybody understands, right? But you do a fantastic, you have a fantastic approach of getting your message out to people. Where does that come from? Does that come from just years and years of doing what you do? Does that come from your upbringing? Kind of share with me a little bit about that.
Oh, man, I don't know. I guess I'm as my buddy says, I'm big, but I'm slow. Well, no, I guess I have worked around a lot of smart people who have can make things complicated, and in my whole practice is built on this process, which is sharpen your focus, strengthen your relationships, simplify everything. So, and I don't know where I got that, to tell you the truth, but I guess, I grew up as playing in the woods and a simple life and around kind of a lot of blue collar workers and not a whole lot of professionals I grew up with. I guess I just learned simple things probably from my parents and grandparents about how to make life simple. One of my favorite quotes is Mark Twain, who said, "I didn't have time to write a short letter." And, so I just try to boil things down into, I believe in the rule of three. The rule of three works in almost everything. So what are the three steps, the three processes? And, but, nobody's ever asked me that question. I wish I'd have had time to think about it.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot there.
No, no.
Go
Well,
ahead,
I have had, I've had some mentors in my life who, I think Jim Marshall, one of the guys who got me started in this work, and he always showed me really simple ways of doing things. And my main mentor, Cliff Esslinger, who's a brilliant consultant, he always said to me, "Remember, you got to make it simple enough for an executive to understand." And so just making things in a simple way. And like I said, if I think of it, I'll let you know, but I really don't know where I got it. I guess I'm simple-minded. Maybe that's what.
You know what? Startup Nation, you may or may not know this or not, but Roll Up Your Sleeves is part of a white shirt book series, if you will. So when we get that next iteration of the series, we'll ask that question of Mike and see if we get an answer for sure. So that's clearly something to look forward to, Startup Nation, for sure. So let me ask you this, man, because you were mentioning your mom earlier and stuff like that, and that she's in good health and everything. What are some of those things that you learned from your parents that you just that just kind of helps drive what you do and really maintains the focus of what you do?
Yeah. Oh, well, my parents were. My dad worked at U.S. Steel. He's a production engineer there and a carpenter. So but he was he was a man of great faith. I remember, he was, to kind of tell you about my dad, when he retired, he couldn't work anymore, but he went and bought a riding lawnmower. And I said, "Why are you buying a riding lawnmower? You always pushed." He said, "I can't push my lawnmower anymore." But really the reason I bought it because I go and help people who can't cut their yards. He's 75 years old, out cutting old people's yards for them. He was a carpenter. He went around, and I remember he would go and find widows and people who couldn't pay for anything, and he would go there and repair things for them. I remember a friend of mine. She came in. I told her my name. She said, "Oh, you're Otis Tate's son." I said, "Yeah," and she said, "Yeah, I lived down the road there, and I had some broken doors and things in my house, and I had been talking about it. And one day I came home, and I saw your dad's truck lights going out, and I came back and all my doors were fixed." I mean, that's kind of the people I grew up with. And so and my mom was, and she's 80, she's 89, but when she was 80, she was still going out taking care of the widow women, she called them, and helping them. And but the one thing with my father was when he had dementia. He died of that about 3 years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
And I was out there with him hanging out one day, and I was trying to start this chainsaw or something. A lawnmower. Right. It wouldn't start. I was getting mad, and he's kind of out of it. He's kind of in and out because he has dementia. Right. And he said, "Stop a minute." He said, "Stop," and put that down. And I said, and he looked at me and he said, "Pick it up and pull it." And I pulled the chain. It started. And I said, "What'd you do?" And he said, "I prayed." So one of the principles in the 10th principle in observation in the Roll Up Your Sleeves is pray first. Before life gives you more than you can stand, kneel. The more you kneel along the way, the easier you'll stand the test today. That's one of the principles in the book. So that's where, I think when you look at just the basic truths in the Bible, that's really where that's all of my principles come from anyway. And so that's probably that's my grounding. Maybe that's where the simpleness came through. Who knows?
I hear that. Thank you for sharing that, Mike. And the reason I wanted to ask that, Startup Nation, is because, look, there are many people along our paths of entrepreneurship or our careers where, they provide some type of guidance, even if it's just really, kind of small in the will, but they have like these profound, effects on our lives, on our careers, kind of like a ripple in water and stuff like that, which leads me to my next question, because Mike is also the host of Small Times Leaders podcast. How did you like that segue, Mike?
Oh man, it's smooth.
He's also the host of the Small Time Leaders podcast, where he interviews people and asks them about some of those people who threw the rock in their water and used that ripple effect along their path of entrepreneurship or their career path and stuff like that. We're actually going to do an episode with me on his show after we wrap up this session here. So, Mike, if you would just kind of share with Startup Nation, about the podcast, the premise of it, and what you hope they gain.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Small Time Leaders is about the leaders in your life who did small things that changed the way you live and work forever. They are 10-minute podcasts. I interview Dominic about 2 people in his life that were small time leaders for him. And he'll tell the story. And like I said, it's 10 minutes each. And so everybody will make a couple of good points. And the reason I started it, though, I'm a reluctant podcast host. I never wanted to have a podcast till my publisher said you ought to have a podcast. Right. So I started thinking about it, and I thought, I'm on a bunch of podcasts being interviewed, and they're like 30 or 45 minutes most of the time. And I'm going, I'm not that interesting to do 30 to 45 minutes. Maybe, and I'm talking about myself. And I'm going, what if I let people talk about other people and instead of talking about themselves? So that was my premise on that. And I kept thinking, what would I do? And it had my devotion one morning. And I always play a worship song when I start. And I have prayer. That's a ritual I do every day. And I was kind of praying about, God, how can I do a podcast that's kind of serves you somehow and not all about me? And this idea of small time leader came to mind. And about that time, that music I was playing went off. The worship song went off, and on my phone, the song that started playing was "It's a Small World." Walt Disney, y'all all know that song.
Absolutely.
And I went, that was it. I said, "There's my answer." I have no idea how that came up, and so I called my podcast guy and I said, "I think I got my intro song for Small Time Leaders." And he said, "Oh my, yeah, that's a Disney song. We can't afford that. You got to buy the rights for it." We went online and did research. That is the only Disney song ever not copyrighted. It was given by Walt Disney as a gift to the children of the world.
I hear that.
So my podcast. So when you listen to a Small Time Leaders, you'll hear "It's a Small World," which you'll sing for the rest of your life. When you hear it. But so anyway, that's how it all came about, and it's like something like I didn't seek after. It just sort of chased me down, and I'm enjoying it. Though it's probably the most fun I ever have is getting people a chance to tell a story, and so many of them at the end, after we get off the air, they say, "Mike, I've never had a chance to tell that story before," and so there's just something healing about that. It kind of goes back to the whole thing about having people tell their stories. That's what we do in transition is helping people when they can tell their story, they can heal themselves. And so that's my little small time leader.
I hear that. Thank you for sharing that. And once again, Startup Nation, you can check out that podcast on michaelalantate.com. Once again, we have a link there in the show notes for easy access if you're listening to the replay on the podcast. So we're going to start wrapping up with Mike here. Just want to say, Mike, as always, my man, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Thank you for providing great value. And I have to disagree with you. You are quite interesting, sir, because we only have interesting people on our show for sure.
Well, I appreciate that, Dominic. That's it's just you are my favorite guy to get interviewed. Well, I was so glad you were able to work me in. I know your show's just booked up like crazy because it's so popular. So thanks for working me in and giving me another shot.
Oh, no worries. It's always awesome to have amazing people like you on the show, Mike, for sure. And Startup Nation, once again, the book is Roll Up Your Sleeves, Leading and Living in a World of Constant Change. I assure you, Startup Nation, with everything going on, especially now and moving forward when we get past this, it's a book you want to put in your entrepreneurial toolkit for sure. So, Mike, as we always do on the show, we always kind of leave with words of encouragement, and with everything going on, that's something that people definitely need. So if you would please, sir, just kind of share with Startup Nation, just some words of encouragement to kind of take us on out for today.
Yeah. Well, my words would go back to really the book. The
Absolutely.
main premise of the book is remember, when you meet people, that everyone has unseen battles they are fighting. Be kind and speak truth. That'd be my word for you guys.
I hear that. And that's going to wrap up this session of The Startup Life. We want to thank once again Michael Alan Tate for coming on the show, man. And when you write that next part of the series, man, you know you got to come back, right?
Oh yeah, we already have a title, and it's about 80% done. It'll be out next year. So,
Can you give us the name of the title?
Yep.
Okay, what is it?
Yep. Check your pocket.
Check your pocket. Oh, that's an exclusive. You heard it here first, Startup Nation. All right, Startup Nation, if you have an idea, be about that life, the startup life. If you want to let us know what you think about our show, have an idea for a show topic, or would like to advertise on our show, send us a message on the Startup Life Podcast Facebook page. And while you are there, like and follow our page as well. It's a great way for us to engage with you, Startup Nation, and really grow our community. The link is there in the show notes. Subscribe to the show, as it can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, or even on your Facebook timeline or any other platform you like to get your podcast. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts and you find our content valuable, please give us a 5-star rating, as it will help us climb the charts and help more people find our show. You can also listen to the show on the Startup Life Podcast new website. There you will find the all-new startup blog, where I write on many topics that are interesting and helpful to you on your path to entrepreneurship. And hey, if you have an idea, be about that life, the startup life. Startup Nation, we tell you all the time that no one does anything great on their own. That includes starting a business or a nonprofit, or even becoming a thought leader or an influencer. My point is that you need a team to do it successfully and responsibly. And that is why you should contact DR & Associates. Danielle and her team provide branding solutions, along with digital and social media marketing that provide tangible results you are looking for. No matter if you are a Fortune 500 company or an author looking to make an impact, DR & Associates needs to be part of your team. They are one of the few firms whose leadership has been recognized by Google, which is proof of concept that they are very good at what they do. Contact DR & Associates today to grow your online presence. The number is 615-933-3681, or you can visit their website at drandassociates.com. Also, make sure you follow their Facebook page as well. DR & Associates, providing real clients with real results. Startup Nation, do you have friends and loved ones that you want to do something nice for, but maybe they live in the next city, the next state, or even halfway around the world? Well, I have a solution for you. Koya is the new and best way to let your friends and family know you're thinking of them. Choose a friend, record a message, and hide it in a location that they are likely to visit, and give them a clue. When they arrive, your message will instantly appear. You can even send them a gift. Best of all, the app is completely free. Get Koya.com to download it now. That's KETKOYA.com. Or check the link in the show notes. Koya, show you care when you can't be there.